This is the lie that you see perpetuated online about making money. In fact, I think it may be one of the worst lies to come out of the 21st century. Let me break something to you. There is no such thing as true passive income from your business. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to introduce you to a concept called entropy. Now, entropy states that everything eventually evolves into a lack of order or predictability. Basically, a gradual decline into disorder. And this applies perfectly to business or making money. Everyone has this idea of passive income as you build an online business once and then you're set free for the rest of your life. Well, here's the honest truth. That is a lot of people's reality for a few weeks, a few months, maybe even a year. People do actually live that passive income lifestyle. They build a system and then it provides for them. But here's where the bad news comes in. Remember that thing I just told you about? That whole entropy thing? Well, eventually it catches up to you. Ladies and gentlemen, just like in life, whatever plants you don't water, well, they eventually die. And just like the goose that laid the golden eggs, if you stop feeding that goose, eventually you'll stop getting the golden eggs. Business is a living, breathing organism. And let me kind of take it back down to earth and give you a very tangible example. Let's say you have this idea of, hey, I don't want to ever run out of toilet paper. I want to be so abundant with toilet paper. So what you do is you stock up on as much toilet paper as you can find. You have 9 months worth of toilet paper. And for 9 months, you go about your life and you're like, I never have to worry about toilet paper ever again. Life is great. You are abundant with toilet paper. And eventually you realize, wow, I've never bothered to restock my toilet paper. I'm out. And you come to that sobering realization while you quite literally have your pants down. Well, in a metaphorical sense, that's kind of what passive income is like. Eventually you will come to that place where you reach the same conclusion, except you're caught with your pants down and you're like, I don't get it. The money dried up. This was meant to be fully passive. And that's a cold, hard truth of it. Just like anything in life, you can give yourself a very good run rate and you can do so much preparation so that way you don't have to worry about something for a very, very long time. By the end of the day, if it's something important or meaningful in life, at some point you have to give it attention. Now listen, times have changed and the world is extremely different to what it was like 100 years ago. That said, some business principles are timeless. Now 100 years ago, if you wanted to get rich quickly, and by the way, when I say quick, most people think quick means 2 months or 5 months. I'm talking quick in the normal world is, hey, I made the intention that I am gonna go from nothing to something, go from having average income to becoming a millionaire. Quick is 5 to 10 years. It's not 5 to 10 months. Normally 100 years ago, even right now, if you want to become a millionaire, from the point at which you get your degree, it'll take you 20, 30 years. So trust me, when I say 5 to 10 years, that is a good timeline. Now, I say 5 to 10, but it'll probably be a lot quicker for you. The second route is you work inside of a fast-growing company, a company where you can learn a lot. And you work in that company for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. And then you take everything that you've learned and you go and you start your own business in a similar industry. And from there, you add in hard work and you absolutely take off. And you may even bring in 1% the amount of business that the company you used to work for, but that's fine because you have 100% ownership. Now, as I said, 100 years ago, 200 years ago, 300 years ago, this would have been the path. The path would have always started with you working at a company or at an organization and understanding that in your early years, you need to prioritize learning over earning. Earning can come a little later, but in your early years, I'm talking specifically here as a student, as a teenager, someone in your early 20s. I mentioned in my last video, there's no such thing as a get rich quick scheme. There's only a get rich quicker scheme. Making money will never be easier, but it can be a lot less hard than you think it is. If you play your cards right, it doesn't matter if you're starting from $0 today. I genuinely believe in the next 36 months, you could have between $1 to $5 million to your name in your investment portfolio. And the way that you do that is by realizing you need money for assets. Build a practical cash flow business quick, one that's remote, one that's lean, and one that provides you free cash flow so that way you can invest in assets when they're at rock bottom. Having a job is not a plan. And in the same way, starting a business that is not practical is also not a plan. This is coming from experience. I spent obscene amounts of money in a couple years building my software company, Agency Flow. If you want to start a business, I would not recommend starting a SaaS company or starting a business that's impractical. Building a new startup or this or that. You need to be practical right now. Remember, you need cash to buy assets. Okay, so you need a business that gives you free cash flow. Now, before we get on to the next point, the other thing that I want to say right now is saving is not a plan. Another thing to mention before my next point, our parents always used to say, save money. You know, you need to understand the value of a dollar. You need to respect money. That is unequivocally not true in this era. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if you've looked around, but your own government doesn't understand the value of money. And your government is so keen and so willing to devalue its own currency, it doesn't care anymore. I mean, look, ever since we went off the gold standard, money's just loosey-goosey, it's anywhere. Which to me is also another reason why there is so much money being printed. There is so much money out there. And you're still broke? You still don't have any cash on hand to buy assets at fire sale prices in the next 12 to 18 months? What are you doing? Stop messing around. Get your head in the game. Get your head in the game. So the second and probably most important productivity hack is that I want you to plan the day the night before. Now, I know it sounds too simple to be true, but that's why most people don't do it. You know, there's something very special that goes on overnight when you have set your intention. You know, when you go into the day with true intention, when you set your intention the night before, something very special happens while you're sleeping. I've definitely noticed that. Now, it can be as simple as 3 tasks, 3 main things for the day. Now, back in the day from 2016 to around 2019, 2020, when I was really driving the business forward, I didn't have the leadership that I have in my different companies and the business partners and the CEOs that I have in my different companies. I used to plan my day hour by hour. So literally hour by hour, what am I doing? These days, of course, I've got my calendar, I've got my assistant, and things are penciled in. But apart from that, I like to free flow. For me, the most important thing is looking at my calendar, knowing what I have the next day put in place, whether that be important business calls, important meetings, certain duties that I need to tend to. And for me, it's as simple as writing down 3 to 5 things I need to accomplish that day. It's that simple, but I promise you it works. So try it tonight. Tonight, just very simply write 3 to 5 things down tonight before tomorrow starts, and you'll see your brain starts working overnight and you go into tomorrow with real intention. Especially for, you know, the biggest issue that young men have right now, in my opinion, is mastering their sexual energy. Most guys don't know how to master their sexual energy. You know, most guys don't know how to transmute their sexual energy. You know, and I think if you look, and a lot of authors have written about this, why people usually get more career success in their late 30s, you know, even early 30s, or especially in their 40s and 50s, is because they have less sexual energy, or that sexual energy isn't really, you know, channeled in the form of, I don't know how I say this, but I guess in a physical way. Usually their energy and their focus, you know, as I said, really goes away from...
I once went 28 years without having sex.
I don't know. You get my drift. And really that's when, especially men, have a chance to really focus on their careers. Because as I said, most men out there just don't know what to do with their sexual energy. And that's, you know, that's very plain to see when porn is such a massive industry. Guys, you're literally throwing away the most valuable thing that you have, which is your life energy. Now for girls, it's slightly different, but that's a longer discussion. Here's the thing, you get paid in accordance to the size of the problems that you solve. And in order to solve big problems or do things that are exceptionally great, you need to sacrifice a lot of the mental space that you have in your head. So you need to understand the person that makes $10 million a year plus, in fact, even 3-4 million a year plus, they're sacrificing a lot of mental peace that they can have in their head. They have a lot of chaos in their life because it is only through chaos that you can achieve extraordinary outcomes. So for most people, when they think that they want the life of a multi-millionaire, in fact, what they want is they want a life of financial freedom, but not only that, a life of financial freedom where they can actually enjoy it with peace and being present and actually enjoying the fruits of their labor. What you want, and I'm telling you from experience, trust me when I tell you that what you want is not to be a multi-millionaire and spend all this money on nice cars and nice clothes and expensive holidays and all that, because look, I'm telling you, it just gets so boring so quickly. You become so acclimated to, honestly, the pleasure that you get from it is zero. And as I said, the worst part is when you're trying to make multi-millions, there will never be a moment, and I can tell you this from experience, there will never be a moment you can sit on the beach in pure peace because you know that you have 25 employees, or in my case, between all my companies, we're almost at 80 employees right now. And as I said, I can tell you it is very, very, very difficult to sit on the beach in pure peace and bliss when you've got this much responsibility. You should really focus on having a lifestyle business where you can produce anywhere from 100K to $1 million a year. And those are the sort of ranges that I've been able to find where you can actually put the right people in place, where it can sort of run not on autopilot, because passive income is a lie. There's no such thing where your team will just work for you for the next 20 years and you're gonna have no headaches or anything like that. But the point is where you can really put in a system in place and you're still involved, you know, maybe a couple hours a day online available, you know, you're still making decisions, key hires, stuff like that, but without aggressively scaling. You know, even me, I'm in a position right now, we hired 17 people in the last 30 days. I'm starting to bring on people in my company that I never thought I would need, you know. I can't believe I'm saying this. I'm bringing on an HR person because of just the sheer amount of employees that I have. I'm bringing on a full-time in-house accountant. Now we have multiple accountants for the different businesses, but I'm talking like a full-time person that every single day gives me cash flow reports and stuff like that. You know, I'm now getting to a stage where I actually need that. Things are getting very, very hectic. So you might be wondering, Iman, okay, well then in that case, why don't you scale your business back? Especially because, you know, a lot of you guys know that I've got over an 8-figure investment portfolio. So I could just scale my businesses back to, let's say, $2 million a year, have my investment portfolio, and I'm basically good to go for the rest of my life. Here is why. The only way that you feel fulfilled in life is by doing difficult things. And I get a lot of fulfillment by building. So right now, at the current stage of my life, I am optimizing for fulfillment. So what is very important is you understand what are you optimizing for in your life. Because I can tell you right now, by the way, in 6 years, I do not intend on working as hard as I do now. If that sounds crazy to you, I mean, sure, so be it.